room for hoping. Power don't play, we ain't joking. Feel the realness in my voice when it's spoken. Every day my friends are being sold and somebody's broken. That's what you get when you left hoping. Vulnerable to it when you left open. After hours, I'm sure we will be closing. Get rid of it, perish the parasite. And I wish you would like a termite. So what you gonna do? Fight or flight? That's all the obstacles and continue with my life.
I gotta keep moving. Get mad, nothing standing my way. Stay on the path. Never go astray. I gotta keep moving. Get mad, nothing standing my way. Stay on the path. Never go astray.
After every dark tunnel, there was some light. Traveling through it, got you saying this is some life. Can't count on your words like singing on karaoke mics. You couldn't walk a mile in my blue nights. You can fall off the path and lose sight. Every day making my way to reach new heights. Can't do nothing about the circumstance of yesterday. Just preparing the road leading to a better way. Home sweet home is where you wanna stay. Protected from the madness of today. It don't make it no better when they threatening to take it all away. Bottle all my emotions up and throw it all the way. Finna show them how we don't play. So don't be smiling in my face every day. What lies being erased, for goodness sakes. So tell me, do you got what it takes?
I gotta keep moving. Get mad, nothing standing my way. Stay on the path. Never go astray. I gotta keep moving. Get mad, nothing standing my way. Stay on the path. Never go astray.
Follow the image of my descendants on the path that's continuous, never ending. Like a new beginning, consistently walking into the next. Shit that old, if it hinders the evolution, then let it go. We are the total control. Dictate what you're saying, where you go. The leaders of the next world, because this one is ending. Let's be real, no more pretending. Everything that okay, just sugarcoat it. You believe everything they say when you quote it. You learned it from school, now you think you know it. Miseducated from the start, and we'll dismantle it apart. Leave you in the dark about who you are and where you're going. Existing in life, I never know it. Your mind not growing, it's limited, real ignorant. Since birth, they've been trying to put an end to it.
I gotta keep moving. Get mad, nothing standing my way. Stay on the path. Never go astray. I gotta keep moving. Get mad, nothing standing my way. Stay on the path. Never go astray. I gotta keep moving. Get mad, nothing standing my way. Stay on the path. Never go astray. I gotta keep moving. Get mad, nothing standing my way. Stay on the path. Never go astray.
I'm restored on my back, so that the bank won't have to think back. Great sacrifice come with separation and come with the trust, so we not looking for reparation. Clarity equals transition when we left the black turn bright, so sleepy. The internally high, that I'm in my power, 144,000 rise. While the black race stay in the dead state, the bright race stay alive, and you know why? Yeah, cause we came home to the most high, yes, we came home to the most high, and that's all.
The bright rays of reality, we are here, raising up our community, no fear. Solar power is flowing through the atmosphere. It's only right we resign and channel out of here. There's no helping the black race, they all dead. Mark our lives in the beast in their forehead. There's no turning us back, we focus forward now. Our only focus is on we will never bow. Yes, we're taking this over, this is our pledge. Our only focus is on we are full-fledged. The bright ones never play games, power don't play. We focus on honest work, seeking a brighter day. We all give for this power, we don't look back. The ones really of vomit will never fade to black. With the elected of vomit, you better recognize the next order of vomit is surely on the rise.
right. There we go. All right. We live again. Once again, back with the High and Mighty Talks with me, the intellectual new Menkares. This is High and Mighty Talks with me. I'm going to eventually start my High and Mighty Thoughts very soon. That's what's going to be me doing the audio and stuff like that. I like the American jersey. We're gonna have that from the Underlord Company, the American jerseys. You know, the indigenous American jerseys from the Underlord Company, the true indigenous American jerseys. See, we ain't up here representing Africa. We representing America. I'm repping America. All right, why? Because we're the only real Americans. You know, we're the only real Americans by blood, by nationality. But before I get into this, let me start off by saying, in the name of Allah, the Supreme, the All-Powerful, the one and only true Lord, and Amen we trust, and Amen we think, and in Amen we continue forward forever. So, and when I say Amen, I'm not talking about no spook God. I'm not talking about some unseen God. I'm talking about us as a race. Us as a race. You might see the serpentine jersey over here. That's one of my, that's another one from the Underlord Company. We're doing our own serpentine, American jersey, American serpent, all that. You're saying the serpentine jerseys and whatnot. So we doing our own thing with that. My focus is on us as that American indigenous people. You know, our true identities, our true identity of who we are. And I'm going to address that because it's always been sticking in my core. And I wanted to do a definitive on this. I wanted to do a definitive on who we really are. Who are the real Americans by blood, nationality, and race. That's us. You see in the description of this podcast, you see the definition of the word American. Many people don't know that this definition of American exists. Many people don't know that this definition of American exists. Okay. And I wanted one of my lovely wives, I wanted her to make it to where you can see the definition, but, you know, I'm looking at it right now. American, you could go look it up in the Webster's Dictionary. For those of you who need the validation of Caucasians, you know, let them tell you the truth about who the real Americans are. They say American. Look up American in the American Dictionary English Language. Webster's, 1828. The online edition, you can look this up. American, a noun, a native of America, originally applied to the Aboriginal. Aboriginal means the indigenous, the Aboriginal or copper-colored races found here by the Europeans, who now apply to the now apply to the Europeans, right? But now apply to the descendants of Europeans born in America. So in other words, they're letting you know who the real Americans are. Now, question. See, in American history, in American his story, he let you know, they tell you that when the Europeans came here, the Caucasians came here into America, they pretty much say that it wasn't much civilization here. They try to make it seem like there wasn't much civilization here, that it was just a whole lot of land that wasn't being used, a whole lot of everything that wasn't being used. We've always had this idea that, you know, the Europeans came here, the Caucasians came here, and, you know, Mongoloid Red Indians was around, and they was basically living off the plains, and they make you think that no one was living on the land, no one was harvesting the land, no one had a culture and a lifestyle here on the land here in America, in North America. But that's not true. That's not true simply because if there was nobody here, if there was no one here, right? They found no one here in the Americas. Then how were they able to survive here in the Americas? How were they able to survive? How were Caucasians, Europeans, able to survive in America and survived up to this day that there was no one here that predated them, that showed them how to survive? You really think that believe, I should say, that these people came here, these Caucasian Europeans came here, and that no one was here. They just started from scratch, and it was just forest and woods and nothing else, and everything was pretty much, there was nothing here, and they just started from scratch. That's a lie. Big lie. Or that the so-called Mongoloid Indians, the people who call themselves Native Americans today, that they were somehow, you know, tilling the land and farming the land and growing on the land. That's false also. They didn't till the land. They didn't farm the land just like the Europeans did and the Caucasians did. The only ones who were farming the land, tilling the land, growing on the land, living on the land, right, was our people, the American indigenous people, falsely being called African Americans to this day. So-called black people. We are the only real Americans by blood, by nationality, and by race. We're the only real Americans. There's nobody else who's Americans. White people are not Americans. Asians are not Americans. People might see this and might be offended by it. But again, if I can make reference to your place being Europe, where you come from, your point of origin, and I can make points of origin where the Asians come from, then how is it saying anything wrong? These people are where they come from. That's your nationality. Now, they call us African Americans, but it's already been debunked that American, so-called American black people did not come from Africa. That's already been debunked. All right. There was no transatlantic slave trade. Everything was told in reverse. Shout out to Dane Calloway. And shout out to those who brought that out. How our people were taken over into Africa in all actuality. And this is factual. But you got a lot of people that still want to go with that American lie, aka his story, that we were brought into America by white people, which is a lie. These people are willing to sit up here and now I'm noticing this too. I've never seen them put as much energy into talking about the American indigenous people and who was here in America first. Now they doubling down, meaning that these Caucasian European sources who are doing these documentaries, they're starting to double down on the lie that Mongoloid or so-called Asian Indians were here and were the first people in America. They sit up here and they deny that these people at one point in time, the ones who are calling themselves Native Americans, they want to deny their Asian past. They want to deny their Asian past. Look at the people who call themselves American Indians. Those are Asians, okay? And they're mixed with Caucasian. These are the descendants of the $5 Indians and the Asians that came over here and vultured off of our culture, our American indigenous culture, which comes from our Mesoamerican heritage. So you all should take pride in the fact that you are the real American indigenous Indians here, the North American indigenous people, or what the white man says Indians. The real North American Indians are here. They tried to say that they wiped out the North American Indians or the indigenous people and all the tribes, but all the tribes are still here. All of the tribes, the descendants of the American indigenous tribes are still here, and they're falsely being called African American, which I take offense to. I take offense to our people being called African American. I take offense to that. Why? Because it's like at one point in time, they were referring to us as American Negroes or Black Americans, right? And obviously because Caucasians did not want to be seen as sharing the term American with our people, you know, the real Americans, because they wanted to take our place. The Europeans that came here into America wanted to take our place as the Americans, wanted to become us, wanted to impersonate us. And they're doing a damn good job at impersonating us to the point whereas we don't even know we the real Americans no more. We up here assigning that term American to white people. White people are not Americans. They're Europeans in the United States. They're European citizens of the United States. Caucasian people in America, I don't care if your families was born here, I don't care if you've been here for generations, that doesn't make you American. Just like I said before, I gave the analogy, if I moved to Italy right now and my family was over there for 50, 60, 70 years, 100 years, and we stayed in Italy, that don't make me Italian. And that don't make me Italian. Same way if I moved to Africa right now and I moved and I just kept my family in Africa and whatnot, I'm not going to be African. I can move to Nairobi, Kenya. I'm not going to be Nairobian or Kenyan or whatever they call. I'm not going to be that by nationality or by blood or by race. I'm not going to be that. I'm not going to be Italian by blood, nationality, or race. I'm not. That terminology was created by Caucasians for Caucasians in that part. Whether you call yourself a German, I can move to Germany. I'm not going to be German. So my question is this: why is it that Caucasians are allowed to come into America and call themselves Americans when they're from someplace else? How come you don't refer to them as European Americans? If they can call us African Americans, which again, that makes me cringe. It makes me cringe, and it makes me even, angrier when I hear black people doing that. when I hear black people referring to us as African Americans. I can't stand that. Now, I know they do it out of ignorance. I know a lot of our people do it out of ignorance because they just don't know. But it's too much knowledge in the world today not to know. There's too much knowledge in the world to have to continuously believe in the history of the so-called white man and his lies about us being from Africa. There's too much history in the world right now. There's too much knowledge. When you, like I said, we, by nationality, by blood, and by race, are American. And we have, in our community, American language. We have American language class. Yes, we produced our own American language as the American indigenous people. American, as we say, American indigenous. We in our Republic of America, we produced our own American language for us. Same way the Italians got their own Italian language, the Irish got their own Irish language, the Irish got their own Irish Gaelic language, the Germans got their own German language, the Asians and the Chinese got their own Chinese language. We, as Americans, real Americans, got our own American language. We are not acknowledging no more Africanism. We're putting away Africa because Africa was never our home, and we're putting away that whole Pan-African nonsense and whatnot. And the ones of our people who acknowledge that you are the real American indigenous people, you need to take this stand collectively together. We can't be sitting up here claiming individuality when we need to be standing up together as real Americans. Because you see that America has been destroyed by people who are falsifying themselves or trying to pass themselves off as Americans. They just want to totally erase our culture, and people are getting pissed off and angry at us for telling the truth. For telling this truth, people like Dane Calloway, people getting pissed off at him, Guy Cambrino, Howell, and a whole lot of other people are coming out. Sister Ann Robinzetta, Ethnic American channel coming up on the videos. So it's a lot of sources and people are pointing to. There's a girl by Tasha X, I don't know, she did she went to the Library of Congress and she saw the book that the Library of Congress has, where it shows you how the American indigenous people look. And it was us. It was us with feathers in our head and everything else. And at one point in time, they were referring to our people as Indians. Indian and Negro was synonymous with each other. The term Indian and Negro was synonymous with each other. So I'm wondering why is it that our people are still claiming black, which is nothing. Because I'm going to tell you this, black, right, with the word nigger, was at one point in time considered a derogatory term, calling our people black people, which calling our people dirt was the equivalent of calling our people dirty people, dishonest, dirty, disheveled, whatever, all the negative things that come with that term black. That's what it was meant, to be when they called our people black. And it still makes me wonder to this day why people are still calling themselves black people. That's only by program. And I say this to the people who are supposed to be so-called intelligent, the so-called scholars and master teachers who y'all always talking about, these master teachers. Well, how come none of these master teachers told us that we American? How come none of these master teachers like Dr. Ben, your Umar Johnsons, what's the guy, James Smalls, all these so-called master teachers, how come nobody told us that we was American? How come it took a guy like Dane Calloway? I'm going to call Dane Calloway out. Shout out to you, Dane Calloway. How come it took a guy like a Dane Calloway who, the brother's not he became a historian by just going and looking for it and putting all this together. Shout out to him and his wife for putting together the books that they wrote and whatnot. How come it took somebody who's not considered a master teacher or a scholar to find all this out? And again, a lot of other people are coming out with this as well. How come it took them to do that? And the so-called established master teachers, you say, who just all they set up here and did was tell us about Africa, tell us about Egypt, tell us that we was Asiatics, and we've been everything all around the world. The Israelites tell we from Israel. They gave us all of this. They ran us all the way around the world, yet we stand in America. Okay? They took us all the way around the world. All right? Time for the high part. They took us all the way around the world, telling us we Asiatic black men, telling us that we are Israelites, telling us that we are ancient Egyptians, which we are the ancient Egyptians. That's true. You know, not taking that away. Telling us that we are, you know, early Christians and all this other nonsense. They told us all of this stuff. Yet we sitting here in America with a whole heritage that we don't know nothing about, that we don't forgot about, we don't know nothing about, that we've been programmed into forgetting about. We sitting here in America with a great heritage, a great American indigenous heritage from our Olmec, Aztec, Inca, and Mayan ancestry. We sitting here in America with the greatest heritage of everybody, so much so that everybody wanted to steal our heritage. You notice how the Caucasians came over here into America, and it's like they don't forgot they're European. They sitting up here telling America's a white country. How that happen? How that happen? White people didn't make America. White people didn't make America, not on their own. They very much depended on so-called black people through their labor here in this country, through their inventions in this country, through that helping of these people to establish themselves in America. Had it not been for so-called black people, the real American Indians, helping Caucasians establish themselves here, a lot of them would have died off here in America, and a lot of them did. Yet, this is never addressed. This is never openly addressed. The Pan-Africanists sit up here and call themselves Pan-African, and they want us to point and look to Africa for our heritage. But tell me this. When did you ever hear the so-called Africans pointing to any real heritage of our people? Because they say we come from Africa and Mama Africa and all this. But how come they weren't able to link our people to any established so-called African tribes or places and whatnot? And like I said, that whole thing about us coming from West Africa is a lie, because West Africa wasn't even inhabited like that at the time they claimed they took us from West Africa. So that's a lie. That's a lie. Black people just gonna keep on believing whatever white people say, whatever Caucasians say, whatever they lie about, whatever lie just come out of their damn mouth so they can steal our identity, take our identity, because what they've done is the equivalent to identity theft. How they gave themselves permission to become Native Americans as $5 Indians, how they basically erased us, forced us into being black people on the damn through this guy named Walter Plecker, who and a lot of these other American these American agencies, right, that went around, who were doing the census, that went around and took off, basically started classifying us as African, or excuse me, as Negroes, mulattoes, and all these other terminology we never even heard of. You got let me say like hundreds. I'm gonna say hundreds. You have hundreds of American indigenous or American Indian tribes out here. Hundreds of American Indian tribes out here. And we are the descendants of those American Indian tribes or indigenous tribes. And they're not Mongoloid. Some of our people mixed in with the Mongoloid. The reason why they show you these Asians or these people who look Mongolians, because these people crossed the Bering Straits and came over here. And when they came over here, it was our people that they found here. And all they did was vulture off of our culture. They started putting the feathers in their hair, copying our rituals and things that we did as the American indigenous people. All you got to do is look at the Bone and Punk temples, like I said in the last video. I'm doubling down on this. And like I said, you got a lot of people who claiming that they know we the American indigenous people. But my thing is this: how many of us are living that as a community? See, we rather live that right now as a community, as a real community, as a real republic. We rather live as American indigenous people here in the Americas, our homeland. A lot of y'all claiming American Indian. Y'all want to get with this tribe or that tribe. A lot of y'all sitting up here calling yourself Black Indians. We're not no Black Indians. We're those copper-colored people. We're those copper-colored people who were found here by the Europeans, right? And some of our people we got in fights with these people. We was in big wars with these people over land, over property, over their right for expansion to take our lands and whatnot, which they did. Because when they set this government up, it was the equivalent to setting up a criminal enterprise. Why? Because land was stolen from the indigenous people, meaning us. Right? Labor was stolen from the indigenous people, meaning us. Right? Everything was taken from our people to give a new start to these Europeans who came over here, who also went as far as to take our name as Americans. And again, the term American does not come from Amerigo Vespucci. That's a lie. Another lie they tell. Because again, I always said this, if the word America came from Amerigo Vespucci, then how come you don't know no history about Amerigo Vespucci? How come Amerigo Vespucci how come there's no history classes or any lessons on Amerigo Vespucci? All you know about is Christopher Columbus. And that picture, like Dan Calloway pointed out, that they show you of Christopher Columbus is not the real picture. It's not the real picture. Matter of fact, the guy Caremio said that, Howard, that's not the real picture of Christopher Columbus. Strong evidence is pointing to the fact that he was a so-called dark-skinned, so-called black Spaniard over there who came into the Americas. And he was talking to the dark-skinned or the copper-colored people here in the Americas. I don't know why a lot of y'all want to attach that to that word black. Nobody's skin is black. Y'all want to attach that. I don't understand that. You Pan-Africanists, I don't know. You people have been programmed by these Caucasians. I don't know what your problem is. Are you that brain stained and programmed that you want to ignore the truth? And again, that goes for the Israelites who want to believe in the slave trade story, because I done heard them sit up here and try to speak against people like Dane Calloway and people that were bringing out the whole truth about our people being American indigenous. I heard you Israelites speak against that. And I'm like, but you would never debate a person like a Dane Calloway or even debate a person like me. Y'all not going to do that. Y'all want to stick with the African slave story because it fits in with y'all whole 400 years in a land that's not our own, being brought over on slave ships. It fits into your story. Well, here's the thing. When certain things don't fit into the story, then it's time to say the hell with the story and just tell the truth. Because if you're truly men of the Lord, as you claim, then you want to tell the truth about who the real American indigenous people are, which is our people. Stop sitting up here and handing over our American indigenous culture to a bunch of people who vultured our culture and want to hand us back some African lie. Again, they keep trying to throw us into Africa and whatnot, but there's nothing in Africa. There's no culture there. So they're basically telling us that our culture was swinging in trees and running around butt ass naked. That's what they want to tell us our culture. They're just lying to us. And y'all believe this. There's a book, I'm pointing to a book that was good. I'm pointing out a guy by the name of Beverly. He wrote a book called The American Holocaust. I highly recommend that book, The American Holocaust. It lets you know what the Europeans found when they came here. And also if you get a chance to go to the Library of Congress and pick up that book, The American Indians, I think it's called The Americans. You pick that book up and you'll see and they got pictures in there of how the real Indians look. That was a lot of people, man. Go to the Bone and Park temples. There's pictures. There's text. There's too much proof to debunk the whole African, we came from Africa thing. It's too much proof. We've always been in America. There was never a time where bronze, copper-colored people, us, have not been in America. There's never been a time. We are the only indigenous people to this land. The so-called Asians that you see who call themselves Native Americans, they're Mongolians. Those are Asians. Those are not American indigenous people. Those are Asians who crossed the Bering Strait and came here. And a lot of y'all don't want to accept that reality because a lot of y'all are on this Pan-African kick. A lot of you sitting up here listening to people like Umar Johnson and things like that. These people are programmed, or these people are trying to push this mindset, to push this whole philosophy. These people are trying to push this whole philosophy to our people. Okay? That's what they're trying to do. They're trying to push this philosophy to our people. That's my daughter in the background. She having a little fit. Don't mind her. But they're trying to push this philosophy to our people. And a lot of our people are unfortunately buying into this. But here in the time of 2023, it's time to start telling the truth. 2023, see 2023 on my American Indigenous jersey. Right? It's time for our people to start telling the truth. It's time for our people to start accepting the reality of who we are as true Americans. You see, we actually have a culture, we have a heritage here in the Americas. A real culture, a real heritage. And again, whenever a crime is committed, the criminal always leaves behind evidence that basically tells what he tells on himself. And the evidence that the Europeans left behind, the Caucasians left behind, was that Merriam-Webster dictionary, among other things. Because I hear people always sitting up here saying, oh, well, where you getting this from? How this, again, where you getting this whole thing from that we African? Where you getting this from? Where you getting the whole African transatlantic slave ship story from? Nobody ever questioned that story. You just believe that story. Nobody ever questioned whether we are African and that we came over on some slave ships where there wasn't even no slave ships at the time. And I think it's very important to keep hammering this point home. I think it's very important to keep hammering this point home. So, by blood, by nationality, and by race, we are the only real Americans here. I'm a proud American myself. Proud American. Stop, when you think of the word American, that's my American princess in the background having a fit. All right. When you hear the word American, stop looking to Caucasians. Stop looking to them as American. Stop looking to them as American. Okay? Stop looking to them as American. And because, again, that's what you've been trained and programmed to think. When you hear the term American, you automatically start thinking this is Europeans or white people that are Americans. Y'all start automatically thinking that. And then they come back to you telling you African American. They come back telling you African American. Okay? They're telling you African American, but why is it that the Caucasians don't get to be European American? Why don't they call themselves European? Answer, because they're trying to forget about their European heritage. Why? Well, if you ask the average white person, what's your nationality? They're going to say American. Then you ask them, well, where did your family come from? Then they'll come with this bull crap about, oh, well, my family's from some part of Europe and whatnot, but I got Native American in my family. That's their favorite go-to. Don't buy into that false answer. If they tell you they got family in Europe, then that's what they are. That's what their nationality is. If they got family who Irish, then they Irish. Or Scottish, they Scottish. Or German, they German. Or whatever. Italian, they Italian. That's what they are. They don't say they're European Americans, but why do they attach this whole African American thing onto us? And who the hell called us African Americans? Jesse Jackson? Who the hell is he? A puppet a boule puppet for these Europeans who wanted to take our identity. That's who he is. With a lot of other people with nothing but boule puppets dressed up in this Pan-African stuff. If you look at the early images of Jesse Jackson, he had all that dashiki nonsense. He go from wearing suits and ties and stuff with Martin Luther King on to wearing damn kente cloth and all this other stuff. A lot of these boule guys, a lot of these boule sambos, a lot of them put on that kente cloth and whatnot and that Pan-African garbage. People like your Alex Haley and these people, they put all that crap on just to lie to our people, to get us to stop thinking of ourselves as the real American indigenous people. Again, that's why they came out with this lie called Roots, this monstrosity, this whole lie called Roots, which was plagiarized by Alex Haley from a white man named Harold Corlander. You see? So again, we need definitive videos like this pointing that out. We need definitive videos. You know, you can't always look to one or two sources. We need many sources pointing out our indigenous American heritage. We need many people. We are the indigenous Americans or the American Indians. We're not Native Americans. We're American Indians and American indigenous Indians of North America. Well, we came in from South and Central America as the Mayans and other cultures and other indigenous tribes, and we came into the Americas, into North America, and we built up North America. We started farming the land, harvesting the land, building trade and posts. We did that in America. How come that history is not talked about? How come that American indigenous history is not talked about? How come your so-called master teachers didn't talk about that? They made sure they kept you away from America. Oh, no, go look over here in Africa. Go look over here, y'all from Africa. Go look over here in Africa. Go look over here in Egypt. Go look over in Israel. Go look over anywhere in Asia. Go look any other place but America. Talking about our American African ancestors. You know, that whole African ancestor thing never sat still with me. That whole African ancestry thing never sat still with me. You got guys like Henry Louis Gates. And again, trust me, everybody who looks like us is not us. Everybody who looks like us is not us. Everybody who's sitting here supposedly teaching us history, they're sitting here lying to us, man. All the people I mentioned, all the Boule Pan-African Sambos with the dashikis on, with the brown pants underneath and the black ass shoes. All these guys are a bunch of Sambos, man. They're a bunch of bootlicking Sambos who lying to our people at the behest of their Caucasian masters, who want to push us out of America, who want to erase our history from America. And it hasn't stopped. You got these Latinos sitting up here calling it, saying that they're that they created hip hop, or they had some part of hip hop. See, because hip hop is very popular. It's an American art form. And I told you, they don't want to connect bronze people, copper colored people, us, with American. So what did they do? They scratched out the bronze and the copper colored. Then they started calling us colored, right? From the copper colored to the colored. Then we went to the Negro. Then next thing you know, we black. So, sitting here, enjoying me a good joint, marijuana, good marijuana, natural marijuana. I can sit here in my homeland of America. I can sit here and speak with authority as a true American, one and only, true and only American, right? In my homeland of America, right? We should be standing up and being proud Americans. Americans of the soil. We are the soil. We are the blood of this land. We are the soul of this land. Which brings me to my next thing. Restoring the soul of America. What do I mean when I say restoring the soul of America? Meaning restoring us. You see, because our people are damaged. We've been damaged when we allow people to make us black. That's when we got damaged. When we allow people to make us black. When we allow people to make us African Americans, Negroes, niggers. When we allow people to turn us into shit, which is what they turned us into when they got us to call ourselves black people. They turned us into shit. Because if you notice, before we became black people, before we became African Americans and all this other nonsense, we were upstanding people. We were an upstanding people. Go back and look at pictures of how our people dressed in the 30s and the 40s and going back even to the 20s and the early 1800s. Our people had a working mindset, a working class mentality, a prosperous mentality. Our people wanted to achieve things and have things, but they always want to paint our people, these Caucasians, always want to paint our people as a bunch of downtrodden, dusty, downtrodden people who, didn't know anything. We just were dumb and ignorant. And, this is how they always want to paint us. They don't want to show how our people truly look in the landscape of the world. At that time, how we, were prosperous people who owned land, who voted, took part in the elections, even though that was a big mistake. But, just the people who were trying to prosper, wanted our children to be educated, wanted our children to be better. So when you saw that, how the men dress very, very dapper and clean, the women dress very dapper and clean, and very proud people, very very respectable people. And then as the 1900s started, the 20th century started coming in, and then they start pushing this black thing, this black. And if you notice, it all started with the images of blackface. They start pushing those images of blackface, right? People, usually Caucasians, with black makeup, the blackest makeup they could find, smeared all over their damn face, and some damn red lip gloss, which I don't even know what the red lips are, white lips. They have white lips sometimes. And they were supposed to be making fun of our people. They were supposed to be making fun of our people. But these are the people, they're the ones who look like idiots. They're the one, when they put that blackface shit on, they're the ones that look like idiots. They still do that to this day as a way to try to shame our people and as a way to get us to hate ourselves. But again, that's truly a psychological thing these Caucasians, these Europeans was playing on our people, because we don't look like that. We don't even look like that. The goal was to make us think we look like that. You see, and in getting us to think that we look like that, we would start to hate ourselves. And ain't that what happened? Ain't that what happened? Even to this day, don't nobody want to really be black. They talk all this black stuff. Don't nobody want to be black. One of the first things, say, get your black ass out of here, your black ass, you black motherfucker, black, you black black is this, you black is that. So again, we was going off on that whole thing of, you know, dark-skinned black people, white-skinned black. There's no such thing as dark-skinned black people and light-skinned black people. There's no such thing. Black is black. And don't nobody look like that. So they got us to buy into the damn brain staining. They got us to buy into the damn program. And what did they do? They got us fighting against each other. Oh, your skin too dark. Your skin is too light. And then we all getting discriminated against. We all getting shitted on. We all getting shitted on as quote unquote black people. As blacks, as Joe Biden says. Which he might well just go and call us niggas, man. He might well just go and say, you niggas need to, you know, he almost like it's like he's about to call him when he was having that meeting with the Congressional Black Caucus. It almost seemed like he's about to call them a bunch of niggas. I wouldn't be surprised. Why don't you quit fucking around and y'all just say what y'all mean, man? It was like with the reparation stuff too. You niggas ain't getting no reparation. Just fucking around. Just say it, man. We ain't letting you niggas get no reparation. Reparations for us white folks. Handouts and reparations for us white people, like legacy admissions at the Ivy League schools, or what they would tell you is affirmative action, is legacy for them. That's handouts for them, or the damn GI Bill, or the Homestead Act, where they took millions and millions of acres of our land, gave it to them, and they didn't even know what the hell to do with it. So as they gave it to these Europeans, they messed the damn land up. A lot of them went broke. They had to end up giving the land back. That's why a lot of black people owned land in America when the European government came over here and start calling themselves the United States. When the Europeans came over and start calling themselves the United States, they wanted to get tax money from the land. They couldn't get tax money from the land from the Europeans because they didn't know how to work the land. If you don't know how to work the land and yield nothing from the land, then the land is useless to you. So to a lot of these Caucasians, they didn't know how to work the land because they don't come from an agrarian society, meaning a agricultural society. They don't come from that. So they didn't know how to work the land. So a lot of the land that they ended up getting that the government gave to them, they ended up leaving the land. And then so the white man had no choice but to give it to our people. And then they tried to get the sharecropping thing going. They was trying to find a way for Caucasians to be able to make money. They tried to get bronze people to teach them how to farm and do all that. And a lot of you simple ass bronze people back then helped them, which they shouldn't have. They should have just let them starve. You see, but that's another thing. They helped them. They showed them how to work the land. Because keep in mind, our people was always here and was in North. And when we was in North America, we already knew it developed and we knew how to farm the land, get the soil to get rich, and how to grow all kinds of vegetables and things out there, cotton from the land. We know how to do all that. They didn't know how to do that. They were starved here in America. You heard about the Donner Party where they was eating, when they came over, they didn't know how to hunt or do nothing. And they just start eating people. They start eating their family members. The Donner Party. And that happened a lot of times. These people were just starving. Okay? So if they eating here in America, they got us to thank for that. But they never will. Because that's what ungrateful people do. That's what evil and demonic people do. They take and they take and they take. And when it comes time to reciprocate, all of a sudden they got amnesia. All of a sudden you niggas want too much. Why you niggas want handouts? White people in America, all they got was handouts. All white people in America has gotten was handouts. From the Homestead Act to the GI Bill, we can keep going on and on, right? That was for white people. You had black men fought in the damn military in every war in this country, and they get a goddamn thing for it. But a whole bunch of racism and getting tortured and hung and whatnot, fought in World War I, II, the Korean War, Vietnam, Desert Storm, and it goes on and on, all the way to the start of this country in the Revolutionary War. They always make you think it was just Crispus Attucks. The guy Crispus Attucks was the only one who fought in the Revolutionary War, the only bronze man. And then they want to make you think it was just him. And you could clearly see this guy is not an African. You can clearly see those people back then who was fighting. It wasn't African. The lies that these people tell. But we have to debunk these lies, even if that means debunking a lot of these Pan-African Sambos, man. You guys are Sambos. I take a hard turn against you guys. Next one. Have black people lost their souls in America? Have black people lost their souls? Yeah, black people have lost their souls. Yes. Everything is so damn spiritual now. Everything is spiritual. Spirituality is linked with white people, Asian people, East Indian people. Spirituality is not supposed to be linked to our people because soul or soul energy is supposed to be linked with our people as the fire. These people are lukewarm. They like the water, the lunar frequency. They move in a lunar foundation. That's why they have those mental issues, because again, lunacy, aka the moon, lunar, is linked to all forms of insanity, which a lot of these humans suffer from. These Caucasians, these Asians suffer from a lot of insanity. That's why they always seeing damn therapists and psychiatrists, because they're under the influence of the moon. We're supposed to be under the influence of the sun as solar beings, as soul beings. But if you notice, you don't hear black people talking about the soul no more. I'm the one that brought back the soul to our people. I'm the one that started speaking about the soul and how we actually have soul and everybody else got spirit. I brought that out. We're the only ones with soul, so-called black people, so-called. And then now a lot of y'all are losing your soul because y'all done got on that whole spiritual vibration, that whole spiritual anything, spiritual energy, and y'all following the philosophies of these different races of people. You following the philosophy of the Caucasians. Y'all either becoming damn Christians, y'all becoming damn whatever, the Christians, or you trying to follow the Arabs. You want to be Muslims. You want to be Israelites or Jews. You want to follow the religion and the philosophy of other people. And I know you guys will sit up here and claim, oh, that's our way of life, brother. It is not our way of life, brother. It is not. The American indigenous culture is our way of life. And that American indigenous culture, they live by laws and they live by orders and statutes. So if you want to say the American indigenous culture was kind of like an Israelite, was like the Israelites, yeah, you could say that. You could say that because that would be more closer to our culture than anything. That the Israelite culture, which is what the American indigenous people was living out, because they followed laws, they followed orders, they followed statutes. They had laws for the men, laws for the women. They did circumcision on the male children. They wasn't eating no pork because there was no pigs here until the Caucasian brought pigs into America. The Spaniards, they brought, and notice they tried to make our people eat pork. They tried to make our people eat pork. They pushed, that was the staple diet. That's why you Negroes love, you eat damn swine today, especially down south. They purposely push pork on our people because they know prior to that, our people wouldn't eat no pig. We didn't eat pig. They forced pig on us, and when you starve and you're going to eat whatever, so they didn't want, we would try to eat the chickens or the cows and whatnot. They wouldn't letting us chase no buffaloes down. That was our food source, the buffaloes, the turkey, you see. Those were our food sources: buffalo, turkey, fish. We didn't really, we started eating the chicken, the yard fowl, and things like that. But, they tried to push pork on our people heavily because they knew that, they knew that was something that we didn't eat. We didn't eat that. But next thing you know, again, if you starve and you don't know nothing, you're going to eat the things that, whatever is accessible to you. So on a lot of these plantations, they were pushing the pig. Because the Caucasians, they eat pork, so they feel like, oh, what y'all doing not want to eat pork? Y'all too good? So that's how they got us eating swine, you see. And gave us the worst part of the pig. Gave us the damn chitlins and all kind of other garbage because it was meant to be an insult to us. Now you see these so-called black people talking about living high on the hog, African-American cuisine. That's a goddamn insult. Y'all, they just keep insulting you so-called black people. They keep insulting you with these fake documentaries on our so-called history. How the hell the Smithsonian got a damn African-American museum up? How you got an African-American museum up and you didn't consult with the people who's supposed to be, who the museum's supposed to be about? Where's the so-called curators who want to bring about history? No, y'all come up with your own history, meaning the museum is what meant to be the white man's narrative of what our people are here in America, which is we came over on slave ships as Africans, and then we went into slavery and then civil rights, and here we go now. Leaving out a lot of real history. Giving us a whole lot of lies. Because again, they trying to change the history again. That's what the whole critical race theory thing is about. Again, they trying to change the history again. They basically want to I'm talking about the Caucasians who run the education system. That guy Ron DeSantis out there in Florida, the governor out there. He's not the only one. They trying to whitewash and clean up the image of the Caucasians and their savagery here in America. They're trying to whitewash and clean up the savagery of the Caucasians here in America. Right? But you see, you can't really whitewash and clean up the savagery of the Caucasians here in America because they still doing the same shit. The damn so-called insurrection at on Capitol Hill on the 6th of, what was that, July or June, whatever the hell that was, where they ran up in their crazy asses, ran up in these crazy white people, ran up in there and supposed to be doing, and it looked staged, but whatever. You still see that whole marauding spirit in these people. That whole rebellious, marauding, lawless spirit in these people. Yet they call these people Americans. So, our people, so-called black people, have lost their souls, you know, and how you lost your souls is by following these other races of people. What is soul and spirit? Soul is the power that drives us, that generates us. We are solar beings and we draw our energy from the sun, straight up. Bronze, copper colored people, we absorb sunlight and we draw our energy from the sun, right? And then you got the lunar people who thrive by the moon, which is your Caucasians, your Asians, your East Indians. They're lunar people. They thrive by the moon, right? That's the term lunacy or lunatic, right? And you see these people have mental issues. A lot of these people got mental issues. You see when we in our right state of mind, we have a fierce focus and devotion for things that carries a solar mental focus. When we go forward in things, again, the way our hair grows up, the way our skin looks, you can tell we are people of the sun. We absorb sunlight. We're those sun people. Thus, the only people that got souls. Everybody else got spirits. So when I hear you people talking, yeah, it's a spiritual thing. Spirit, I hear you Israelites, spirit, Muslims, spirit, this and Christian, spirit. Again, that's how you lost your souls, by embracing this whole spiritual vibration of these Caucasians and these other races of people. You embrace the spiritual vibration, which is a form of lunacy. Spirituality is just nothing but a form of lunacy. Notice a lot of these so-called black females, these liberated black females, they heavily into spirituality, numerology, tarot cards and whatnot. That's the latest thing. A lot of these black females, these liberated black females, they heavily into that spiritual energy. That spiritual energy is really nothing but demonic energy. I want to get into that in a minute. I'm just going off the top of my head. I'm just here, and I said I just felt like doing this. Shout out to those of you who saw the last High and Mighty. Usually I take a longer time before in between these things. So I'm busy being a dad. I'm busy doing radio broadcasts. I'm busy running our community. So I'm busy being Newton Menkares. So when I got time to sit down and talk with you all, and you know, I'm trying to get more and more back used to this because I used to do the old stuff, and I had a lot of people on YouTube. They used to have, you know, had access to my channel, but you know, YouTube done took my damn channel down, flagged my channel, claim I'm teaching hate speech, and I've never said nothing that was hateful at all. I just told the truth. But I guess the truth to these people is considered hate speech, but when they tell lies about our people coming from Africa, swinging in trees and studying Islam and all kind of the nonsense, and that we came from the West Coast and we was all packed into a damn boat, some big boat, like damn sardines. Come on, man. Or blackface, or, you know, there's this video on YouTube. I forget what the name of this group was. Does anybody know the name of that group? Remember I put it in there, and it's a white group. It's a white group, and they constantly saying the word nigger, right? And now the name of the song is nigger, right? And I find it funny that these people are allowed to get on YouTube and use the N-word, use the word nigger, and the way the guy wrote the group wrote the song. What's the name of that group? That with that video, the word where they keep saying nigger all the time. What's the name of that group? I want people to go up there and see that if you get a chance, right? Now they got a problem. They got no problem with using this word nigger, and YouTube didn't flag them. YouTube didn't flag these guys. I had a group on my page on Facebook and whatnot, this white group, and they basically trying to say the word as in, you know, like the whole message is they trying to act like they uplifting our people, but really they not. And the song sound like shit. And it's just a bunch of white people in the audience, nigga. And they doing that because, and you got a lot of these Caucasians who want to be like, well, why can't we use the word nigger? It came from us. Why we can't use the word nigger? First of all, the only reason why they want to use the word niggas is a way to insult you and disrespect you. That's the only reason why they want to do it. The only reason they want to say niggas is so they can disrespect you because they see y'all saying it and we done made it the cool and hip thing to say to each other. And that's amongst us. But the only reason you got these white people who say stuff like this, why we can't say the word? Because they want to insult you and disrespect you. Now, if you call them cracker, you call them all kind of names. They Jewish, you come up with a name, call them. You say something about them derogatory. You say something racial about them. You know, call Italians guineas or whatever. You start calling people Latino spics. You start calling all these people these names. All of a sudden, you racist. Why are you talking like that? You hate speech. It's hate speech when you do it. When they do it, it's art. The nigga all over the place. Not that I care. I don't care. But it just, I'm glad they put it up there because it was just really just a way to show that it's okay to disrespect our people. That basically letting you know it's no problem to disrespect our people. Anybody else, oh no, don't disrespect them. Don't got an Asian hate bill for Asians and whatnot. Ain't nobody hating on no Asians. Ain't nobody thinking about them people. But they're going to create an Asian hate bill for them, which is really meant to be against us because they claim that we got some Asian hate, which, again, ain't nobody thinking about them people, man. Just like ain't nobody really thinking about no white people like that. But they got to always be thinking we live rent-free in the heads of everybody. So-called black people, and like I said, if our people started to regain their souls again, we'd really be a powerful people if we came together. If our women was standing 10 toes down with us, because again, right now, a lot of this, you know, these black females out here that are infesting America, right? These liberated black females who really spiritual, who want to be the dark skinned white girls with the septum piercings in their ear. I'm gonna do something on High and Mighty Talks, not High and Mighty Talks, on my MENTELLECT Patreon. By the way, subscribe to my MENTELLECT Patreon. I'm going to do a raw and cut on those type of females with the septum piercings and whatnot. And they got very liberated views. And they also bed wenches. Yeah, I said it. They bed wenches and they lay with these Caucasian males and Asian, where everybody, they flip, they see. They don't got no loyalty to you so-called black people. They ain't got no loyalty to their men. So-called black female today is not, the average black female today is not race loyal to her men at all. She'll lay with anybody. And sometimes she'll choose her men as the last alternative, you see, because they done lost their souls. See, when you were really soul people, soul men and soul women, we knew that by nature we belonged together. These other people had nothing to do with us, man. We had nothing to do with these people. And we need to get back to that mentality. We need to become that race of soul people again, where we are standing 10 toes down for us, our people, us coming together. Okay? Bronze man, bronze woman, soul men, soul women together and shutting everybody else out and just mixing with our people and being righteous toward our people and growing our bronze family, our bronze American indigenous family. That's what we need to be doing. That's putting us on the right track and the right mindset. Getting rid of this whole African garbage, this red, black, and green BS, this pro-black BS. Pro-black is nothing. It is nothing. Let me move on. And yeah, there is no such thing as a black community. I said this before, I'll say it again. There is no such thing as black people, and there's no such thing as a black community. Let me see. I'm going to just touch on topics I had up here. I said why we're taught to look to other cultures as ours, but these black teachers, because again, man, these guys, these pro-black people, they working with the Caucasians against us, man, to mislead our people, to lie to our people, to miseducate our people about their true heritage. That's because how you gonna sit up here and claim you a historian and a master teacher, but you don't talk nothing about our American indigenous heritage? I've never heard of Dr. Ben or Dr. Ben, Dr. Clark, Dr. Any of these so-called doctors with these PhDs, I've never heard them talk about our American indigenous heritage. All I heard them talk about was Africa, some Egypt. But what about us here? Our civilizations and societies were more advanced in Egypt here in America. Our civilizations we built here in America were more advanced in Egypt, were more advanced than the Greeks and the Romans. We had civilizations where they was over here and they was running around in Europe, you know, doing whatever, being degenerates. We had civilizations here in America. We had advanced civilizations here in America. While they were running around here being all kinds of degenerates. You see? So why don't these so-called black scholars, these so-called black godfather scholars, or whatever you want to call them, these so-called master teachers, why are they not teaching us that? Why are they not teaching us who we are? I think I would have wanted to hear that history. I would have rather seen these guys say, hey, you know what? Instead of us taking a damn trip to Egypt, let's take a trip to South America. Let's take a trip to Central America. Let's go down to the Yucatan. Let's see, in Mexico, let's see what our people built. Let's see the pyramids our people built over there. How come none of these people took us over into into South America and Central America? Why our people built? Or hell, even had tours taking us to the mound cities out here in Georgia and Chicago. You got mound cities and whatnot that our people, the American indigenous people, built here. How come that's not in the damn African American Museum? Oh, that's right, because these Europeans, they don't want you to know that. They don't want you to know. They don't want us to know that. They want us to keep on believing we came from Africa, packed on slave ships. And you know what that really does to our people? You know what that does? It makes you put the white man on a pedestal like he just so super bad, like he a damn Superman, that he could just take you niggas and just stuff y'all in a damn boat. Nobody fighting with him or nothing like that. Just stuff you niggas in a boat and just send you into America like y'all just cargo. Like you cargo. And there wasn't even no cargo slave ships then. You see how they want to always keep that lie perpetuating, so it makes them just look like they just a super race of people, and we just some dumb niggas who just weak and dumb, and we just went along with it. That's why they want to keep those lies going. But see, now they trying to give a whitewash version of it, whereas, oh, you know, you people was fighting against each other in Africa, and your African chiefs sold you into slavery. That's a load of bullshit, man. We need to stop buying into the lies, man. We need to stop buying into the lies. Second cup of coffee today. So, moving on. There's so much we're discovering about ourselves, so much we're learning through our American indigenous heritage. All right? Let me see. I was going to do this as a broadcast, but let me go ahead and address this. Are black people viewed and feared as extraterrestrials on Earth? Do other races of people see us as a bunch of strange-looking extraterrestrials on Earth? I know that's funny. That's a funny terminology to use, but think about this for a minute. Why is it that people, if we supposed to be part of the human race, right? Remember, I already said, I debunked that whole thing that we part of the human race. I said the human race is really comprised of Caucasians, Asians, East Indians, all the people with the straight hair, the fur like the animals, all the people with the straight fur hair like animals. That's the human race. That's a created race. So then there had to be a race that preceded them. If we're not a part of them and we're older than them, obviously we had to belong to that first race of people that was here on Earth. That created them. That created them. I'm making a bold statement here. The Caucasians were created by us. The humans, not just the Caucasian, but the humans were created by our people. Our first form of artificial intelligence. The whole creation story of the Bible is really a high race of people creating a lesser or an artificial race of people. That's what the whole thing of God creating man on earth and let us make man in our image and after our likeness. Now, you people say, oh, brother, you know, that's the Bible you're using. No, here's the thing. Those stories, those accounts are older than the Bible, going back to the Gilgamesh epics, the Enuma Elish, about a race of advanced beings coming from a advanced place, creating a artificial race of people called human. Right? That's all that's about. And that's us. That's us. All right? That's us. An advanced people coming from an advanced place. When I talked about the fourth dimension and I said that our people are really the Amen race. The Amen race, A-H-M-E-N, the Amen race, which again, you recognize the word Amen as what they used in Egypt, even though it didn't come from Egypt. It's not Egyptian, the word Amen. They used that word Amen in Egypt. That this was a race of supreme beings who created an artificial race of people to work. That's your human race. And if you think about it, it makes sense because you look at these people, they are artificial. They don't have any real genetic material of their own. Their genetic material, the human genetic material, is a mixture of animal genetics and our genetic. That's why they'll tell you. Now, I know I'm going into what would consider to be strange or crazy breakdowns of what I'm about to say, but I want y'all to think about this for a minute. Had not your scientists said that humans are animals? Your scientists said that humans are animals. Your Caucasian scientists said that humans are nothing but a species of animal. They said that. Now, they also said humans all got this mitochondria DNA of a so-called African woman inside of them, a black woman. This is what your scientists say. So now I ask the question, how was it that mitochondria DNA of a so-called African or black woman got mixed in with the rhesus monkey and the rhesus monkey genetic material that they say is in humans? How did that get mixed in? And don't say that the African woman was an ape woman. No, she wasn't. Because our genetic material looks nothing like that of a monkey or an ape. They always saying we look like monkeys and ape, but we don't. We got woolly hair. We don't got straight hair like an ape. We got dark skin. We got, and we got, features, full features and nose. It don't look like that of an ape. Now, those who got the genetic material of the apes will be your humans. That's why they always they got to pick them to play Planet of the Apes. But they got more of a genetic material of the apes than we, and we don't have that. They have that. They still got the same straight hair like the apes and the monkeys. They still got the same thin lips. They still got the same pale skin up underneath. Same thing. And your scientists already said that about them. They own scientists. When the guy Darwin did the whole evolution of man, he started from a monkey, and to the end of the evolutionary chart was a white man. I didn't put that there. Charles Darwin did, so be mad at Darwin. He didn't believe. Those scientists didn't believe that these Caucasians was created by some divine God to look at. They didn't believe that. They were dealing with straight science. They looked at the genetic material and they seen the genetic material of these humans match closely, obviously, with the animals. And they named the rhesus monkey. And, I got my thoughts on other animals like the jackal. You can see the dog and a lot of them. They got a lot of them. And it makes sense because if you notice, the humans, they age really fast like animals. Humans age quickly like animals. Like I said, you see a white guy, an Asian guy, they tend to look a lot older than, a so-called black person. We age year by year. It seems like they age for every, like with a dog will age 7 years. 1 year for a dog is like 7 years. 1 year for the dog is 7 years. Hey, tell me that's not how if you look at these human, the Caucasians, the Asians, all these people, they age hard. Because they kind of age like animals. They age quickly, like animals. And that's what, them being artificial, not natural people of the sun, the sun kind of accelerates their aging process. The sun kind of accelerates that. That's why they'll look old, and they break down. They look old real fast. Everybody know that. Everybody know that we age the best on the planet because we don't have the animal genetic in us. We have a natural solar genetic in us that is fourth dimensional. But again, that's getting, I don't want to veer off, and I usually reserve my radio broadcast for that deeper talk. I don't really get into it on here because, you know, this is YouTube and I got to watch my language. I can't say the real stuff like I want to say, but check out MENTELLECT Patreon tonight. MENTELLECT Radio tonight on Blog Talk. MENTELLECT is MENTELLECT, where I can break this down. And those you want to call in, the number is 319-527-6028. 319-527-6028. If you want to call in and ask me about these assertions I'm making, these intelligent assertions I'm making concerning mankind, the human race, the human species, the Armenic race, the Armen race, which we are separate from the human race. I said this before, black people are their own, so-called black people are their own race, their own separate species. We're not part of the human race. Because if we part of the human race, how come they don't treat us like that? How come we don't look like them? And how come they don't treat us like that? Straight up. I'm the only one that was pointed this out, that we're not part of the human race. The human race was a created race. We come from a race called Amen that produced the human race. That's why we look like this and they look like that. I'm like, this is not, I mean, we got to learn to start seeing through our own eyes and through our own senses and stop looking at other people telling us what we supposed to be seeing and what we supposed to be thinking. That's the problem with black people. Y'all see and y'all think how white people tell y'all to think. You see and think how white people tell y'all to think. That's why y'all ain't got no problem with being called black people. You got no problem with being called African American. You got no problem with being called Negro. You got no problems with being told you part of the human race, even though they don't treat you like that. They treat you like you a damn alien. And that's why I was saying that they treat us like we aliens, man. We're treated like aliens, like hostile aliens here. You still got people up here trying to touch our hair. They done been around us forever, and you still got people trying to touch so-called black people here. Especially if the so-called black woman got an afro, a nice natural, I should say, not afro, but a nice natural out and whatnot. She take care of and pick it. First thing, you got these people want to, touch their hair, touch our children's hair, looking at our skin, all kind of stuff like that, because that's really a form of worship. That's really a form of worship and wonderment at something that they don't have. We look totally different from everybody here. So like you can see with the Caucasians, the Asians, again, the Caucasians are nothing but, washed out Asians from the Caucasus Mountains. That's all they are. They all Asiatic people. Your Caucasians, your Asians, your East Indians, your Arabs, all those people, the Mongoloid, the Indian, all those people, or the Mongoloid, what do you call them? I don't call them Indians, the Mongoloid, Hindus, and all these other people. They all got the same straight hair. They all come from the same origin as the so-called white man. Now, people say, well, what about black people with straight hair? Black people with straight hair, unless you mix breed with them people, then we got like a wavy type of hair that's not like theirs. It's not the same animal fur. Because notice also your humans, they still get fleas and ticks in their hair. We don't get fleas and ticks in our hair. And again, somebody might say this is hate speech. It's not. Your Caucasians, your Asians, the East Indians, they get fleas and ticks in their hair. Like animals, like dogs and monkeys and other creatures, they get fleas and ticks in their hair. That's from the animal genetic. And again, they're your own scientists. So don't be mad at me, be mad at your scientists. They're the ones that said it. But nobody ever points that out. Nobody ever points out and says to the white people, why y'all got hair like animals? Or the Asians, why y'all got hair like animals? Why you got hair, or the East Indians, why y'all got hair like animals? And then it makes sense of what they scientists said about them. Right? Why and how do black people sell and give their souls away to the beast? Our people sell and give their souls away to the beast, black people, because you want to be like them. You want to be like these other groups of people. You want to believe in their gods. You want to follow their Jesus, they Allahs. So by you following their gods and their belief in that dogmatic religion that they follow, you giving away your soul. Our soul is natural. We are a natural race of people. A natural race of people who are slated to become a supernatural race of people very soon. But we are a natural race of people who are solar projected people onto the earth. We are the only real natural people here on the earth from a higher state. But we've been brought low in this world. We've been brought to a low state because We wanted to be like these people. We had compassion for these people who were really our creatures or our creations. We started to fall to the level of the human. And we became dehumanized once we fell to the level of the human. We allowed the humans to dehumanize us, but when we fell to the level of human men, we started acting like them, carrying ourselves like them, believing in their gods and their dogmatic religion and all that. Then we became spiritual like them. And if you notice, black people are now suffering from the same mental ailments as white people. We're suffering from the same mental ailments. You know, all the degenerate things that they now try to make seem like it's progressive. I'm not even going to say all this stuff because you know I'm going to get flagged, but you already know what I'm talking about. You know, the sodomites and all that other stuff they into, all that alternative sexual nonsense that they pushing. All that alternative sexual nonsense, something other than a man and a woman being together. You see, that garbage right there. That garbage right there. This is what they're pushing. And our people are accepting this. We up here talking about you can't help who you love. We ain't supposed to mix our seed with these people. We're supposed to be unto ourselves. As that bronze, copper colored people, as that bronze people. We're supposed to be unto ourselves. And I told you it was a time where our people acknowledged that they were bronze people. We had Bronzeville in California, Bronzeville in Texas. These were sections where our bronze people lived at. The bronze race of people, the bronze copper colored people lived at. We acknowledged ourselves as bronze people at one time before the white man started calling us black. Before they just start dissing us and disrespecting us and degrading us and making them blackface movies. And then they got a lot of you simple ass Negroes to put that black junk on your face too. And coon out and Sambo out. Sammy Davis Jr., you did that when you was a little boy. A lot of y'all did that blackface shit. Just degrading your people. Just keep degrading. Let me move on. Got to touch a few more points, and then we'll wrap it up. Give me a second. I gotta say, thank you for those of you who support. Like I said, 1,000 views for me is quite a bit, man, because like I said, I know the channel will grow if I don't get flagged and whatnot. I know eventually as time goes on, more people watching the content. You know, I'm going to touch on a lot of things. I'm going to start doing these things a little closer together. The views are climbing. Please share this on Instagram, Facebook, whatever. Share it wherever you can. Let people hear this message that you see an American indigenous man standing up for our American indigenous heritage and who we are as American indigenous people. We need to stop acting like we strangers in our own land. We need to stop letting people tell us you niggas need to go back to Africa. No, you need to tell you crackers need to go back to Europe. Anybody tell you that, y'all go back to where you came from. Go back to Europe. Go back to Asia. Let them tell them to go back to where they came from. And they really came from someplace else. They try to act like we came from someplace else. All right. Let me see. Is there anything else I'm going to touch on? If not, I'm going to close it out very soon. Let me see. I think I touched on everything. I'm going to check one quick glance over everything. Yeah. I'm going to say this. Why do I say mental freedom is the best freedom? Is the real freedom? Why mental freedom is the real freedom? Mental freedom is the real freedom because, you see, and this is why the powers that be in the society, they always want influences to get at our people because they know that to truly control the people, you have to control them mentally. You got to control them. You see, you can only control the people physically, but for so long. You have to control people mentally if you're going to truly control them. So when our people, that's why I said when they had our people in slavery and whatnot, they was up there talking about, oh, the slave master was always telling them, oh, this is your life right here. You want to die a slave. You want to be a slave. You want to be this, that, and the third. Basically letting our people know, don't even think about being free. Freedom is for a white person. You black people, y'all supposed to be in servitude. You supposed to be down at the bottom. You supposed to be serving us. And that went into a lot of black people's minds. That went into a lot of ignorant black people's minds. And this is what they teach to this day. So they made a whole point of putting that mindset or pushing that mindset in our people, that submissive mindset in our people. We're taught to submit to a God that doesn't look like us. We're taught to submit to a God that don't look like us. Jesus don't look like us. God don't look like Allah, Muhammad. None of these people look like us. Yeah, and the sad thing is, you so-called black Muslims and Christians, y'all don't have a problem submitting to a God that don't look like you. You Jehovah Witness and them damn watchtowers, Awake magazines. They show you all a bunch of white people in heaven talking to God, and they might put one of y'all in there or something. But yet y'all out here, they go to you so-called black people to get out there and push they damn tracts and pamphlets to Jehovah Witnesses. And these ain't nothing but a bunch of Caucasians running a damn racket. That's all they doing. They just a bunch of Caucasians on the top running the damn racket. Who was at one point teaching that you so-called black people was cursed. This is what the Jehovah Witnesses taught, that you, and just like the Mormons, that you so-called black people was cursed, and that y'all was meant to be in bondage. This is what they was teaching about that. And then they could come back in your damn neighborhood and talk about, oh, they want to recruit you to be in the damn Mormon in the damn Mormon church, or in the damn what's the other one? But they want to recruit you to be in these churches. They want to recruit you to be in these churches and whatnot, where these people were talking about you was cursed at one time. And y'all sitting up here intermarrying with them, preaching that doctrine, the Jehovah Witnesses. That's what I meant to say. They was preaching our people's cursed because of our dark skin. But y'all sitting up here pushing damn tracts and pamphlets for these people. Disgusting. Oh, I did this. I'm going to touch on this last one because I did this broadcast last night. I said that Europeans, that Caucasians become, because they always ask that question, how did the white man get so successful? I remember I heard a Moorish guy said, how did the white man become so successful? He became successful by becoming you. In short, he became successful by becoming you, by assuming your identity. Notice that the Greeks and all these people, they didn't become popular. They didn't become the power they was until they set up here and they went into ancient Egypt and learned under our people about laws and orders and statutes and the things our people were talking about, geometry and mathematics. They learned under our people, and then they went and set up Greece, and then from there came Rome. But they learned from our people, the ancient Kemites. They learned from our people. They went to our institutions and universities, what you call universities today, and the Caucasians know that. They know that. That's why they don't want the Egyptians to be so-called black people. They don't want them to be bronze, copper-colored people, because then it sends the wrong message. You're trying to say white people learn from black people, and black people, the blacks are no more than white people. They don't want that. So they would rather say the hell what was clearly on the wall, that these are bronze, copper-colored people with afros and women with braids. You can clearly see these are our people, right? Here in ancient Egypt, you can clearly see it's our people. But now you got a bunch of damn Arabs. You got a bunch of Arabs who's supposed to be Muslim and believe in Allah. So if you Muslim and believe in Allah, you Arabs in Egypt, why are you trying to claim a heritage and a culture that has nothing to do with you? Those people, the ancient Kemites, you call them Egyptians, but the ancient Kemites, which they call themselves, they didn't practice no Islam. They didn't follow no Allah. So why are you trying to claim our culture? Why are you trying to lie and say that that's not our people? Because y'all don't really have a culture, and those people were great people, and the world learned from them. And we have great people here in the Americas too. We have the greatest civilizations here in America, and all over the world. We have the greatest civilizations, bar none. But we always taught that we was in bondage, we were slaves. We got every place we got how we got all over the world is because we was from Africa, and somebody brought us there from Europe or someplace else, brought us there in bondage and slavery. That's what the lies they teach our people. But you want to listen to these people. You want to listen to these people and still call yourself Africans, African Americans, Negroes, because that's the only reason y'all believe that. You believe that you Africans and African Americans and Negroes because the white man said so. That's the only reason y'all believe that. That's the only reason the so-called pro-blacks believe that. Because the white man said so. Not because none of they black master teacher scholars said so. It's because the white man said so. Who else? They became powerful by impersonating us. And even now, they still trying to impersonate us. You got this guy over there in Egypt. The guy arguing with Kevin Hart. They trying to sue the people that made that movie, Cleopatra. They trying to sue her because they showed a so-called black woman, a bronze woman, playing Cleopatra. And they tried to get at Kevin Hart for saying that the ancient Egyptians were bronze, copper color, or so-called black people. Basically, they mad at you for telling the truth. Basically, they mad, just like they're going to be mad at these videos of me telling the truth, like they mad at any video of them telling the truth. Because, you know, white people are very comfortable in the belief that they really American. They really stay really comfortable with that. So for somebody to say that they not American, they get really mad at the truth. And not just them, a lot of these mongoloids, these fake Native Americans, these $5 Indians, all these people that wanted to replace us, they get mad when we tell the truth. Well, the hell with them. Let them get mad. All right. But I think I'm gonna close. Let me see. Oh, let me just ask you. Was declaring us black people a way of erasing our American indigenous identity? Yeah. Yeah, it was. That's another reason they called us black people. Again, think about this. You calling somebody a people, a black people, a people who have, that's a way of just basically saying, all right, y'all ain't got no culture, you got no language, you got nothing to link yourselves to. You're just black. That's what they did. At least when you hear white people say white Americans, they saying that what the term white means, clean, clean slate. That was basically them letting it be known that these are people who became white when they came to the shores of America. When they came to America, they became white people. All that European stuff was wiped out. The hell with Europe, the hell with the old countries they said they came from, where they was in poverty. They said the hell with that. We in this beautiful, lush place called America, and we get a brand new start as white people. We get a clean slate. That's what the white represented, along with the whole Christianity thing and being pure and all this. But yet these people claim to be so pure, but they enslaving our people. They raping our women. They raping on our children. They putting hell on our people. But these are the clean, pure people. These are the clean, pure, pristine people, the white people that did this. Okay, and they brought their God and their Jesus to double down on it and say you Negroes better worship our God, not Jesus, if you want to be okay here in your country. I mean, in our country, which is really our country. You see, and they new revised version of our country where white people, you have something called white people that were created, something that didn't exist in Europe. There was no such thing as a white person in Europe. You was either what you was Irish, Italian, Polish. They came here and became white people. They cleaned the slate. They means they canceled out their European heritage. And while they were doing that, they was canceling out our American indigenous heritage and making us black people, just fading us to black while they stepped up as the Native Americans. They stepped up as white Americans. They stepped up as the Americans in our place. Everything has been done to displace us and replace us. And y'all sit up here when y'all calling yourself black and African American and all this Negro nonsense. You're helping them to replace us. You're helping them. You Muslims, you Christians, you Israelites, you spiritual people, you're helping them replace us. That got to stop, man. We got to restore the souls of our people here in America, man. We got to get off that whole spiritual mindset. Okay? That's why I said, why is it that these Caucasians are allowed to erase their European heritage? Why are they allowed to do that in America? Why are they just automatically become American, white Americans? Why are they able to erase? Why is it not set on the census European American? Because they want to forget about their heritage, but they want you to remember a heritage that's not even yours. That's why they keep calling you African American. Why can't they just call you American like everybody else? Why they got to say African American? Because again, that's to reinforce the lie or double down on the lie that you came from Africa on slave ships and slavery. That's really why they keep calling you that, because it makes it look as though you an immigrant like them. And the white man right now, he basically saying, he's starting about to say he ain't no immigrant. He's native to America. He basically about to start saying that soon. Hell, he already done start saying it when they let them become the $5 Indians on the Doors Acts. Because that's all that's running these so-called Native American tribes is a bunch of the descendants of a bunch of damn $5 Indians and a bunch of Mongoloids who are not the real Indians anyway. They don't even want to admit that they crossed the Bering Straits and came over here from Mongolia. And vultured off of our culture, our American indigenous culture. Our American indigenous culture, our American Indian culture as Indians comes from the Mayans, the Aztec, the Inca, the Olmec. That's our culture. Let me see. Oh, why don't most females of today qualify to be women? I know that's a funny title. And I said I was going to do this on High and Mighty Talks. Why don't most females of today qualify to be women? If y'all heard my broadcast and I talked on this, I said, you know what? All females are not women. I don't care if you've grown to be the age of a woman. I don't care. All females are not women. And all males are not men. I said this. I brought that. I was the first one to bring out the difference between men and males. And then you had a bunch of other people start copying me. I was the first one to bring out the difference between females and women. Women are a higher mindset, represent a higher mindset than a female. Anything could be, remember I told you, anything could be a male or a female. You can have an animal that's a male or a female. You could have an insect. You can have any kind of creature that's male and female, because all it requires is that those creatures be anatomically correct. Meaning that, you know, a male will have a penis and testicles or some kind of male genitalia, and a female will have female genitalia, vagina, you know, have a cycle, breast, whatever. That you can have that in animals. Right? You can have animals like that are anatomically correct. And just like you got people who are anatomically correct. But what differentiates us from those male animals and female animals? What differentiates us? Us being men and women. That's what differentiates us. That is a mental thing. That's an upgrade from a male and female. Men and women are mentally correct. Males and females are just anatomically correct. Okay? So we is a reason why you don't call a dog a man and you don't call a female dog a woman. You call it a male and female dog. You see? So we represent that race of men and women. We represent that. Us bronze, copper-colored people. But the world has fallen into a state of just being males and females here. And like I said, a female is basically one who has degraded herself or downgraded herself to the level of a beast or an animal. Like a lot of these females out here, they lay with anybody like how a female dog or cat would. I'm saying all races of females, not just black, white, and everything else. The females out here in this world will lay with anybody, male, female, whatever. They'll lay with anybody, don't care. You know, they don't have no real regard for what they put in their body like animals do. Again, male and female, all they care about is just sustaining themselves, surviving stuff in their face and laying with whatever. They have no discernment. You see, when you don't have no proper discernment as men and women, then you're not men and women. That's why I said the difference between men and women is a mental thing. The difference between men and males and women and females is a mental thing. That's a mental thing. The males and females are low grade creatures. Males and females are low grade creatures. But when you step into the realm of being men and women, you have stepped up to a higher level of being. You've stepped up to a supreme level of being. We were originally the only real men and women on earth. And we still are to this point, but a lot of our people have fallen into becoming males and females. They have fell down and now lack the discipline, the mental fortitude to be considered men and women. That's why y'all up under the beast, you up under these humans, and you following behind them, because you don't separate yourself and you don't have a higher standard for yourself that is just you and you alone as men and women. I'm talking about the our men and our women, those true men and women on earth, those natural men and women. All right, so let me make sure, check, I ain't got nothing else I'm going to say. All right. I guess that's it, you know. And yeah, we have outgrown blackness. I talked about that. We've outgrown. I talked about that in the last one. But I said I ain't got nothing else to talk about. I'm going to close out in the name of Amen, by the power of Amen. Amen we trust, and Amen we think, and Amen we continue forward forever. Check out MENTELLECT page, MENTELLECT Radio tonight at 10:30. Eastern Standard. Check us out. We're going to be on Blog Talk, Mentellect Radio, MENTELLECT, MENTELLECT. Y'all can call in and ask me questions because, see, unlike everybody else, I'm a teacher that answers questions. I'm not going to just talk to you and then I'm not going to answer your question. I might not answer no questions on here only because I'm busy on the camera. But for those of you who have questions for me on all the things I teach in Mentellect, which came through me, if you have any questions about anything I teach, you can call tonight between 10:30 and 12:30. I'm going to be on live. I ain't going to mute your phone or nothing like that. You call in. You want to debunk what I'm saying. You want to say what I'm saying is not real. You want to challenge me. I'm open for a debate. You Pan-Africanists, you Muslims, you Christians, all you people on that dogmatic shit, y'all want to come up there, let's do it. Let's do it. I got some debate in me. If you want to listen, if we're going to be done respectfully, let's do it. Let's do it. Now, about what I said about the human thing versus we as the almond race and they're the human race, all the things I done stood up and I'm ready to answer on that. Again, the call-in number for Mentellect Radio tonight at 10:30 is what is it? I just said it. 319-527-6028. You can call in tonight between 10:30 and 12. We'll be doing that live. So check us out. Subscribe to my Mentellect Patreon where I got all the raw and uncut broadcasts up there and even topics I did. Mentellect Patreon. MENTELLECT. Mentellect Patreon. Subscribe to that. And check out Sister Enra Vanzetta's channel, Ethnic American channel. And that's all. Y'all can fade me out. Good night.